children, how are you all? I hope all of you are doing well. Do you love nature, children? Do you love nature? Do you think that nature helps us for our living? Yes, nature helps us for our living. What all things you do to protect nature? We should protect nature, isn't it? What all things you do to protect nature? Do you plant trees? Do you keep our environment neat and clean? Very good, children. Can you tell me the benefits of planting trees? Yes, by planting trees, we'll get fresh air and it also helps to get rain. So, today we are going to learn the story of two boys who protected trees, from cutting down. So we are going to learn their story. Now I'll read the chapter for you. Now listen carefully, children. Chapter 8, Adventure in the Woods. Mukul and Tony lived in the beautiful hillside town of Kantar. On the edge of the town was a thick forest where many animals lived. Every evening after school, Mukul and Tony would go to play with their friends in the field near the woods. They greatly enjoyed themselves running in the green field, throwing stones into the brook and shouting back to the chirping sparrows. One evening, the two friends were so busy at play that they didn't notice it was getting dark. They had run too far from the town towards the woods. All other children had gone home. Mukul and Tony were lost in the woods. The boys knew there were wild animals in the woods. They held each other's hand and walked in terror. Tony said, "We can't hope to get home tonight. Let's climb a tree and spend the night there." Mukul agreed, and soon they were sitting on a thick branch of a tree. "Let's pray to God that the elves and fairies of the woods protect us," said Mukul. The boys soon dozed off. Late in the night they were awakened by loud noises of metals clashing and banging mixed with people's voices. "Mukul, we are saved. It must be Mom and Dad with the police. Let's get down." As they approached the source of the sound, they found it was not their parents, but men carrying lanterns, axes, saws, and a bag of other tools. They were arguing about which trees they should cut. Tony and Mukul were shocked to see this. They knew how dangerous it was to cut trees. They remembered what they had learnt about deforestation and climate change from their books. "Mukul, we can't allow this. We must stop them," Tony said. "Wait, they look so dangerous. Let's see what they are up to," said Mukul. The boys hid behind a bush and observed the men. Now they had huddled together to discuss something. Mukul said in a hushed voice, "Hey Tony, see, they have kept their tools beside that bush. Let's hide them away." "Yes, that's a wonderful idea," whispered Tony. After the discussion, the men came back to get their tools, but there was none. "Oh, where is my axe?" shouted one. "Who took the saw from here?" asked another. "Ghost," said a third one in a shivering voice. "Shut up, you fools, and search for the axes," shouted their leader. They found no trace of their tools and decided to come back the next day. Mukul and Tony found their way home the next morning. They told their parents about the events of the previous night. The people of Kantar were alarmed and outraged to hear about the wicked smugglers. It became clear to them why there had been a disastrous landslip in the valley the previous year. The men came back to the woods with new tools that night, but before they could begin their job, people of the town surrounded them. "You cannot cut these trees. They belong to all the people of the valley." "Who are you to say that? We earn our livelihood by selling wood," said one of them. Mr. Narayan, a well-known journalist of Kandar, said, "Do you know what will happen if you cut down the trees? The trees keep our air clean, bring rain, and keep our hillside beautiful. They also protect the wild animals by giving them a safe place to live in. I am sure you haven't forgotten last year's deadly landslip." which killed many of our relatives in the valley. The landslip happened because there weren't enough trees on the hilltop to keep the soil together. It is easy to cut a tree, but have you ever not thought how many years it takes for a tree to grow? The men now realized their mistake. They hung their heads in shame. The next evening, when Mukul and Tony ran into the woods to play, they were taken aback by what they saw. The same men were there again, but this time they were planting little saplings to grow more trees. Now, I'll explain the chapter for you. So, we are going to learn chapter 8, Adventure in the Woods. So, what is the name of our chapter? Adventure in the woods. In the woods. So, what is the meaning of adventure? Adventure means an unusual or daring experience. So, the name of our chapter is Adventure in the Woods. So, we are going to learn adventure in the woods. What is the meaning of adventure? An unusual or daring experience. So, we are going to learn the chapter Adventure in the Woods. Now, listen carefully, children. Mukul and Tony lived in a beautiful hillside town of Kantar. On the edge of the town was a thick forest where many animals lived. So, we are going to learn the story of Mukul and Tony. So, Mukul and Tony were friends and they lived in a beautiful hillside town of Kantar. So, what is the name of that place? Kantar. Repeat it. Kantar. So, Mukul and Tony are friends and they were living in a beautiful hillside town of Kantar. On the edge of the town was a thick forest. So, on the top of the town, there was a thick forest where many animals lived. So, we know that in forest there will be so many animals. So, in this forest also, so many animals lived. Every evening after school, Mukul and Tony would go to play with their friends in the field near the woods. So, Mukul and Tony are friends, and after their school in the evening, every day they'll go to play. They'll go to play in the field near the woods. So, near that forest, there is a field, and in every evening, they'll go there and play. What is the meaning of woods? Look here, children. Woods. Woods means an area of land, covered with trees. So, what is the meaning of woods? Woods means an area of land covered with trees. So, we learned that Mukul and Tony are friends, and in every evening after school, they'll go to the field near the woods and they'll play there. They greatly enjoyed themselves running in the green field, throwing stones into the brook and shouting back to the chirping sparrows. So, these children, they loved to play in the green field. So, they were enjoying very much. When they are playing in the field, they enjoy very much. Throwing stones into the brook. What is the meaning of brook? Brook means a small stream, a small water body. Look here, children. Brook. B-R-O-O-K. B-R-O-O-K. What is the meaning of brook? Brook means a small stream. A small stream. What is the meaning of brook? Brook means a small stream. So these children were enjoying very much. They loved to play in the green field and they loved to throw stones into the brook. And shouting back to the chirping sparrows. What is the meaning of chirping? Chirping means making short, sharp, high-pitched sounds. Look here, children. Chirping. Chirping. What is the meaning of chirping? Chirping means making short, sharp, making short, sharp, high-pitched sounds. High-pitched sounds. High-pitched sounds. So we learned that the children loved to play in the green field and also they loved to throw stones into the brook, and again they shouted back to the chirping sparrows. What is the meaning of chirping? Chirping means making short, sharp, high-pitched sounds. So these children were enjoying very much. They greatly enjoyed themselves running in the field, throwing stones into the brook and shouting back to the chirping sparrows. Chirping is the sound made by sparrows. So these children were enjoying very much. One evening, the two friends were so busy at play that they didn't notice it was getting dark. So one day, Mukul and Tony were playing in the green field, but they were very much busy in playing, and after that, what happened? They forgot that it was getting dark. They had run too far from the town towards the woods. So they were engaged in playing. They were enjoying very much, and after that, they ran too far from the town towards the woods. They went to the woods and now they are so far from the town. All other children had gone home. So now only Mukul and Tony are there, and all the other children, they went back to their home. Mukul and Tony were lost in the woods. Now they are in the woods. Now they cannot go home. The boys knew there were wild animals in the woods. So we learned that in that forest or in the woods there will be wild animals. And the boys knew that there are so many wild animals. They held each other's hand and walked in terror. Now they are afraid. They held each other's hand and walked in terror. What is the meaning of terror? Terror means extreme fear. Now they are afraid. What is the meaning of terror? T-E-R-R-O-R. What is the meaning of terror? Extreme fear. Extreme fear. So Tony and Mukul are afraid. They are in extreme fear. They held each other's hands and they are walking in the woods. Now they are lost in the woods and they are extremely afraid. Tony said, "We can't hope to get home tonight. Let's climb a tree and spend the night there." So Tony told that today I don't think we can go to home. Let's climb a tree. Let's climb a tree and we'll spend the night there. We'll sit there. Mukul agreed. Mukul told, "Okay then, we'll climb a tree and we'll sit there." And soon they were sitting on a thick branch of a tree And after that, they climbed a tree and they are sitting on a branch. Let's pray to God that the elves and fairies of the woods protect us, said Mukul. Now they are afraid and they are talking each other. Mukul is telling to Tony, let's pray to God. Now we'll pray to God that the elves and fairies of the woods protect us. So what is the meaning of elves? Look here, children. Elves. E-L-V-E-S. What is the meaning of elves? Little creatures with human form, with human form and pointed ears in children's stories. So what is the meaning of elves? Elves are little creatures with human form and pointed ears in children's stories. So Mukul and Tony are afraid now. Now Mukul is telling to Tony that we'll pray to God. God will save us. We'll pray to God and let the elves and fairies of the woods protect us, said Mukul. So they are afraid. They are sitting on a branch and now they are praying to God that the elves and the fairies will help them. The boys soon dozed off. What is the meaning of dozed off? Dozed off means fell asleep. So the boys fell asleep. Now they are on a branch. They were praying to God. They are afraid. Now they fell asleep. They soon dozed off. Late in the night, they were awakened by loud noise of metals clashing and banging mixed with people's voices. So what happened, children? These two boys, they fell asleep. Later in the night, they were awakened by loud noises of metals. So when they were sleeping, they heard a sound and they awakened from the sleep. What is the meaning of awakened? Look here, children. Awakened. A-W-A-K-E-N-E-D. What is the meaning of awakened? A-W-A-K-E-N-E-D. Awakened means rouse from sleep. Rouse from sleep. So they were sleeping. Suddenly they heard a sound and they roused from sleep. That means they awakened. What was the sound? It was the loud noises of metals clashing and banging mixed with people's voices. So they heard metal sound. When metals hit together, they'll make a sound, clashing and banging sound. So the boys heard that sound mixed with people's voices. So they heard the clashing and banging sound of metals and also they heard people's voices. Mukul, we are saved. It must be mom and dad with the police. Let's get down. So Tony said, Mukul, it can be our parents. Our parents came with police. So let's get down. As they approached the source of the sound, they found it was not their parents, but men carrying lanterns, axes, saws, and a bag of other tools. So the boys thought that the sound will be their parents' sound. They thought that their parents came with police. But what happened, children? It was not their parents, but there were some men. They had lanterns, axes, saws, and a bag of other tools. What is the meaning of lanterns? Lanterns. Look here, children. Lanterns. What is the meaning of lanterns? Lanterns are lamps. Lamps with lanterns are lamps with transparent lanterns are lamps with transparent case. Transparent case. So what is the meaning of lantern? Lantern is a lamp with transparent case. So the boys thought that their parents came with police, but what happened? It was not their parents. Instead, there were some men. They had some tools with them. Also, they had a lantern. What is the meaning of lantern? Lantern is a kind of lamp with transparent case. They were arguing about which trees they should cut. So they were going to cut the trees. Tony and Mukul were shocked to see this. They were shocked to see that sight. They knew how dangerous it was to cut trees. So the boys knew that we should not cut trees. It is dangerous. They knew how dangerous it is to cut trees. They remembered what they had learnt about deforestation and climate change from their books. So the boys knew that it was very dangerous if the trees are cut. Then what will happen, children? It will lead to deforestation and there will be climate change. What is the meaning of deforestation? Look here. Deforestation. D-E-F-O-R-E-S-T-A-T-I-O-N. D-E-F-O-R-E-S-T-A-T-I-O-N. Deforestation. What is the meaning of deforestation? Destruction of forest by cutting trees. So what is the meaning of deforestation? Deforestation means destruction of forest by cutting trees. So the boys knew that cutting trees is very dangerous. It will create deforestation and climate change. So what is the meaning of climate change? Look here, children. Climate change. Climate change. Climate change. What is the meaning of climate change? Change of weather. Change of weather pattern in a place. Weather pattern in a place. So what is the meaning of climate change? Climate change means change of weather pattern in a place. So Tony and Mukul knew that it is very dangerous to cut trees. It will create deforestation and there will be changes in the climate. Now Tony is telling Mukul, we can't allow this. We must stop them. Tony said to Mukul, hey Mukul, we can't allow this. We can't allow them to cut the trees. We should stop them. Wait, they look so dangerous. Let's see what are they up to, said Mukul. So Mukul said that, no, now we are not going there. We're not going to stop them. Let's wait. Let's see what they are going to do. The boys hid behind a bush and observed the men. So the boys decided to watch the men. So they hid behind a bush and they observed the men. Now they had huddled together to discuss something. So the men huddled together. What is the meaning of huddled together? Huddled means crowded together. They came together and now they are going to discuss something. Look here, huddled. Huddled. What is the meaning of huddled? Huddled means crowded together. Crowded together. Crowded together. So Tony and Mukul are watching them and the men crowded together. They huddled together to discuss something. So still the boys are watching them. Mukul said in a hushed voice, "Hey Tony, see, they have kept their tools beside that bush. Let's hide them away." So Mukul said in a hushed voice. What is the meaning of hushed voice? Quiet voice. He said in a quiet voice, "Hey Tony, see, they have kept their tools beside that bush. Let's hide them away." So the boys decided to take their tools and hide it. "Yes, that's a wonderful idea," whispered Mukul. Mukul said that, "Yes, that's a wonderful idea. Now we'll take their tools and hide it somewhere." After the discussion, the men came back to get their tools. So the men were discussing something. They huddled together and they discussed something. After the discussion, they came back. Now they are coming to take the tools. And what happened? But there was none. The tools were not there. Tony and Mukul took it and they hid it. "Oh, where is my axe?" shouted one. One man shouted, "Where is my axe?" "Who took the saw from here?" another asked. The another one asked, "Who took the saw from here?" "Ghost," said a third one in a shivering voice. The third one said, "Oh, that can be a ghost." The third one said, "That can be a ghost." Now they are afraid, children. They are afraid. "Shut up, you fools, and search for the axes," shouted their leader. So their leader said that, "Shut up, you fools. Where is the ghost? There is no ghost. Now go and search for the axes." They found no trace of their tools and decided to come back the next day. So they searched everywhere, but they couldn't find their tools. So they decided to stop it and they decided to come on the next day. Mukul and Tony found their way home the next morning. So Mukul and Tony spent that day in the woods itself, and in the next morning they went back to their home. They told their parents about the events of the previous night. So they told everything to their parents. They explained all the things that happened in the woods. The people of Kantar were alarmed and outraged to hear about the wicked smugglers. So Tony and Mukul told everything to their parents. The people of Kantar were alarmed and outraged. What is the meaning of alarmed? Alarmed means shocked. Alarmed. Alarmed means shocked. And outraged means what is the meaning of outraged? Outraged means angry and shocked. Angry and shocked. Angry and shocked. So Mukul and Tony went their home and they described the incident that happened in the woods to their parents. The people of Kantar were alarmed and outraged. The people of Kantar were angry and shocked about the wicked smugglers. Wicked smugglers. What is the meaning of that, children? Wicked means See here, wicked means evil. And what is the meaning of smugglers? SMUGGLERS. What is the meaning of smugglers? People who take away people who take away things illegally from one place to another. So Tony and Mukul went back to their home. They described the incidents to their parents, and what happened? The people of Kantar were very much angry and shocked about the wicked smugglers. What is the meaning of wicked smugglers? Evil people who take away things illegally from one place to another place. It became clear to them why there had been a disastrous landslip in the valley the previous year. What is the meaning of landslip, children? What is the meaning of landslip? Now look here. Landslip. LANDSLIP. What is the meaning of landslip? Landslip means a large mass of earth and rocks sliding down a slope. So what is the meaning of landslip? Landslip means a large mass of earth and rocks sliding down a slope. So the people of Kantar understood that why there had been a disastrous landslip in the valley the previous year. So what was the reason, children? It was because the smugglers cut the trees. As they cut the trees, a landslide occurred there in the previous year. A landslip in the valley the previous year. What is the meaning of valley? Look here, valley. VALLEY. Valley means a downland area between hills or mountains. So what is the meaning of valley? Valley means a downland area between hills or mountains. So the people of Kantar understood that why there had been a disastrous landslide in the previous year. The men came back to the woods with new tools that night, but before they could begin their job, people of the town surrounded them. So on that day itself, the people, who are the people? The smugglers. They came to cut the wood, and what happened, children? Before they could reach there, the people of Kantar surrounded them. The people surrounded the smugglers. You cannot cut these trees. They belong to all the people of the valley. So the people of Kantar said that, hey smugglers, you cannot cut these trees. They belong to all the people of the valley. These trees belong to all the people of the valley. Who are you to say that? We earn our livelihood by selling wood, said one of the men. So one of the smugglers said that. Who are you to tell that? We earn our livelihood by selling wood. So this is our job. We'll cut the wood and we'll sell it. Then we'll get some money and we are living with that, said one of the men. Mr. Narayan, a well-known journalist of Kantar, said, "Do you know what will happen if you cut down trees? The trees keep our air clean, bring rain, and keep our hillside beautiful. They also protect the wild animals by giving them a safe place to live in." So, the famous journalist Narayan said to the men that you should not cut the trees. Do you know what will happen if you cut the trees? These trees are giving us fresh air. They bring rain. Then also they'll keep our hillside beautiful. They also protect the wild animals by giving them a safe place to live in. I'm sure you haven't forgotten last year's deadly landslip which killed many of your relatives in the valley. So Mr. Narayan is explaining to the smugglers. He is telling that you should not cut the trees. Do you remember what happened last year? Last year a landslip occurred there, and in that landslip many people were died. The landslip happened because there weren't enough trees on the hilltop to keep the soil together. So Mr. Narayan is explaining. Who is Narayan? He is a famous journalist. He is explaining that, hey men, please don't cut the trees. Do you remember what happened last year? When you cut the trees, a landslip occurred, and in that landslip so many people were killed. So he is telling that if we are having more trees, it will hold the soil and there will not be landslip. It is easy to cut a tree, but have you ever thought how many years it takes for a tree to grow? So Narayan is asking to the smugglers that, do you know, it is very easy to cut a tree, but how long it will take to grow a tree? So he is asking how long it will take to grow a tree. The men now realized their mistake. They understood their mistake. They hung their heads in shame. The next evening, when Mukul and Tony ran into the woods to play, they were taken aback by what they saw. So, this meant they understood their mistake and they decided they'll do something for the environment. And on the next day, when Mukul and Tony came to the woods to play, what happened? They were taken aback by what they saw. Taken aback. What is the meaning of taken aback? Look here, children. Taken aback. Taken aback. What is the meaning of taken aback? Taken aback means surprised. Surprised. So Mukul and Tony, they were surprised to see that sight. What they saw, children? They saw that the same men were there again. So the men were there again. But this time they were planting little saplings to grow more trees. So they were not cutting the trees. Instead, they were planting more saplings. So what is the meaning of saplings? Sapling means young trees, small trees. So this time these men were planting some saplings. Did you understand, children? Did you understand the story? So we learned the story. What was the name of our story? Adventure in the Woods. Adventure in the Woods. And what did we learn? We learned the story of two children who did a great deed to protect the trees. So they did a good thing, isn't it? They did something good for the environment. So they need appreciation. We should appreciate those children because they did a great job. They did a great thing for the environment. Like these children, you should also do something for our environment. And if somebody is doing something to protect our environment, we should not hesitate to appreciate them. We should appreciate them. Did you understand, children? How was the story? Did you like it? Now, we are going to do the activity part. Now, look here, children. This is activity A2. Tick the statements that are true and cross the false ones. So, we have 4 statements here. We have to tick the correct statement and cross the false statement. Did you understand, children? So, we are going to do this. See the first one. The smugglers thought that ghosts had taken away their tools. Is this true? The smugglers thought that ghosts had taken away their tools. Is it true or false? Yes, it is true. So, we'll tick it. Now, see the second one. Cutting trees will cause landslips. So, what is the answer, children? Is it true or false? Yes, we learned it. It is true. Cutting trees will cause landslips. So, we can tick it. Now, see the third one. Mr. Narayan was a businessman. Is it true or false? It is false. Mr. Narayan was a journalist. Now see the fourth one, children. Kantar was a seaside town. Is this true or false? This is false. Kantar was a hillside town. So we'll read all these sentences once again. The smugglers thought that ghosts had taken away their tools. It is true. Cutting trees will cause landslips. It is true. Mr. Narayan was a businessman. It is false. Kantar was a seaside town. It is false. Did you understand, children? Now, I'll give you a homework. Chapter 8, Adventure in the Woods. Now, you have to read this chapter, take a video of your reading exercise and send it to me in school WhatsApp group. Also, we have learned some new words and their meanings. You have to write all these word meanings in your notebook and learn them. See you in next class. Thank you, children.